going to go back to what we were talking about when the minister was here. And while we appreciate the work and speed at which agencies acted when they had the information, I can understand why people would say that that's how the system works. What we haven't got to the bottom of here today is our concern about why you didn't have the information after this individual had been in this country for 6 years. And from the chronology that you provided this committee right before it started, had 6 different incidents of security checks. I'm going to ask you, whether it's Mr. McCrory or Ms. Lloyd, how can Canadians be sure that there are the proper checks in the system to make sure that this didn't happen before, that there aren't terrorists in our midst, and that this won't happen again? You can appreciate that Canadians want the answer to that question.
Mr. Chair, I can start, and then Vanessa, if you want to join in. Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. What I'd like to describe is, in fact, I think we have a very robust system in place when it comes to security screening. You've heard a little bit in the previous session. It starts with the assessment that is done by our colleagues in the IRCC, and then based on risk indicators, comprehensive files are referred to the CBSA and CSIS to do comprehensive security screening. And we can describe in more detail what is entailed in that. But I'd say from a CBSA point of view, it's about understanding the person who's in front of us, reviewing the information that we have, understanding their travel history, their work history, where they're coming from, and then doing in-depth analysis both in terms of open source research, but also running names and information aliases against a range of our intelligence and enforcement databases. If necessary, then we also dig into further getting information from domestic as well as international partners. And then we provide a recommendation to our IRCC in terms of, but sorry.
Yeah, that has all been covered. I
Right.
just want you to appreciate that that this individual who is allegedly on an ISIS video from 2015 that was publicly available has been in this country for 6 years before the RCMP thwarted a terrorist plot that would have killed people in the GTA, somewhere in Toronto, presumably, after 6 security checks. You can appreciate why Canadians are concerned, can't you?
So again, our outcome, the goal that we're focused on is ensuring the protection of Canada and Canadians. And so when we make our decisions, when we do our analysis, it's based on the information that we have available at any given moment in time.
I think this is the most robust process that could have happened in this case. You're telling Canadians that?
I'm telling Canadians that we have a robust system in place, but as the minister indicated as well earlier, we are asking ourselves, do improvements need to be made? So we are conducting.
So there wasn't a failure in this?
I would go back to the point is that we've made the best decisions we can at those moments in time with the information that was available.
So Canadians watching this see that, again, 6 security checks, 6 years of this individual who is publicly on an ISIS videotape, who is now behind bars or being held on very serious terrorism charges. You think the system, you really believe that the system worked as it should? As the minister, he dismissed anything that was wrong with the system here today in his testimony. You really think that that's how the system should work here? You're really telling Canadians who are watching at home that the system is robust and everything worked as it should in this case?
What I'm telling Canadians is we're asking ourselves, can there be improvements made to this system? We're taking a very hard look at that. We're doing that in collaboration with our partners in CSIS, in the IRCC. We're going to do a representative sample of cases that have had positive assessments in the past and ask ourselves, have we missed anything? Are there any systemic issues, any gaps in our processes?
Anything. There's been 6 incidents of security checks here. Of course you've missed something. These guys were just arrested. A father-son duo were just arrested in a hotel room 10 minutes from the riding that I represent and within 40 minutes of the riding that committee members here represent. Of course you've missed something. Has there been any consequences for anybody who has been involved in any of these checks?
There's nothing to indicate at this moment in time that we had information available to us when we made those decisions that would...
That's a problem?
I'm saying we're asking ourselves if we need to review some of our processes and systems.
I appreciate that you're asking yourself these questions, but don't you think it's a problem that you didn't know that this guy was awarded a visa here, 6 years ago after being in an ISIS video from 2015 that is publicly available and was arrested with his son days before committing a terrorist attack.
I'm apologizing, and I just have to repeat that, in fact, we made the best decisions that we could at that moment in time based on the information that we had. I think we have robust systems in place, but we are asking ourselves, can we do more? And we're looking backwards to see if, in fact, we need to do more.
I don't think there's a single Canadian watching today that would agree that you have robust systems in place if this is what happened. I don't think there's a single Canadian today watching saying, you know what, the system worked exactly as it should. What happened? Where were the failures? Why did this government fail?
I'm not sure there are any failures. Again, we are going to do a respective view and to see if there's more, if we missed anything, and if there is, we will make corrections. We have 183 staff at CBSA that every day are conducting security screening. About 206,000 per year we get coming our way, and we issued about I want to say 130 decisions last year. So.
Who slipped through the cracks. Can you assure Canadians that there hasn't been any more, that there aren't terrorists in our midst, that this won't happen in the future? I appreciate that you think that this is a robust system that worked exactly as it should, but I think people watching this would disagree with you.
What I would assure Canadians is that we have multiple lines of defense in place. So if we don't capture them at the stage of security screening, we also look at people coming to the country. And as you heard from earlier testimony, about 7,500 people were no-boarded prior to even departing for Canada. About, I want to say about 37,000 people were turned away from Canada upon entry. And then we have an additional line of defense in terms of our inland investigations. So last year we launched 88,000 inland investigations based on concerns about inadmissibility. When we find inadmissibility, we take those cases to the Immigration Refugee Board, who's a decision maker. Last year we removed 15,000 people, of which about 800 were serious inadmissibilities. So there's multiple lines of defense that are in place. We don't rely on a single point of failure. We have multiple lines of defense, and we're asking ourselves, do improvements need to be made? And that's, I think, a powerful message for Canadians is we do want to know if improvements can be made, and if there can be, we will make improvements.